This first aid kit is actually pretty good. And this one makes a lot of sense if you're trying to save space. But there's a few things that almost every budget first aid kit is lacking. After reviewing a bunch of kits, there's a few things that they're lacking. And this is what we've decided we're going to add to the kits. Just a couple of things. This is actually splints. It's in a big case. This is some bandage. It's aid tape, like duct. I think it's called duct aid,
yeah,
is what it's called. These are your medication kit. So there's the three things I think that you put those three in besides a proper tourniquet, because no kit, unless you get expensive, nothing that really has a proper tourniquet.
But because of the way that we need to use these kits for the activities that we do, these are the things we're adding. This may not apply to you.
Yeah, I mean, we're usually out, like, we've been out riding, burns, sprains,
sickness,
heat sickness, pretty bad cuts, things like that. So these are what makes sense for us to add to our kit, just because of our personal experiences when we're riding and hunting and hiking. If you don't do any of that and it's just mostly around the house, it may not make sense to add a splint to it, because there's things around your house you can use, or you're just going to put them in a car and take them to the hospital anyways.
So today we're talking more about how we build a first aid kit, for how we actually use it, not to post a kit on Instagram, because that's not going to do us any good.
Yeah, it doesn't do you any good to just buy stuff. And it's like, preparedness is skills, not just a bunch of gear. So
at the same time, you have to have a certain amount of gear.
At the same time, you have to have the right equipment to do the job.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to emphasize is first aid is not curing anything. It is to stabilize. First aid, the first thing you do to stabilize them, to get them proper care. Some people confuse that and think, oh, well, because a tourniquet is to stop the bleeding till you can get it dealt with at the hospital. Same with a splint. It's to stabilize it so you don't further injure it, so you can get the proper care. If you're a Gen Xer or you're a farm boy, might have to beat them over the head a little bit to get them to the hospital, because they'll be like, I'm fine.
Give me some tape and some dirt and I'm good to go,
I'll eat a power bar. I'll be fine.
But just to give you an idea, where we ATV, they've actually now put in a life flight landing pad.
Yeah, pretty close to it, because you're out in the middle of nowhere. We don't have phone service. We have nothing. And that's why we go there, because I don't want to be bothered with everyone calling me to fix their freaking dryer on a weekend.
The only way I can get him to take time off is if he's not stressed about the calls. But that also means we have to be prepared to handle just about anything.
Yeah. And so we've actually had, like, my son walks a mile and a half back to camp when he rolled a four-wheeler with his little sister on there with a broken foot. We were all looking for him, and he walked straight across line of sight, and we're on the trails, couldn't see him, couldn't hear him until he got back to camp.
And so I was back at our RV, and when they got back there, they're both not sweating anymore, beet red. He's just walked on this broken foot. And so I brought them in the RV, fired up the Jennies, cranked on the AC, got ice packs out of the freezer, started triaging right then and there. Cold rags, fluids, elevate his foot, get that iced, because we had the equipment.
Medication, gave him some pain. Yeah. We didn't actually end up coming home early.
Mm-mm.
He just kind of chilled in the trailer the rest of the trip.
He wanted to stay out there, and then we took him in when we got home, and they put him in a walking boot.
That trip was a catastrophe. Oh. Later on that night, our other son burned himself with freaking marshmallows.
He said, look, my marshmallow's good, and it slid down and landed on his knuckle.
I'm holding his hand in the ice cold cooler. He's freaking out because his hand's so cold, and I'm like, it's not 20 minutes yet. So they're adults, so you don't need to call CPS.
But we speak from experience on some of these things that we've had to handle. We have an evac plan for if someone was to break a femur, how to get them to the landing pad to have them life flighted out.
So anyways, everyone's situation is different. We could talk for hours about this kind of crap. We wanted to talk about what we would add. Every kit is missing these. Every kit that I've been through. Even my jump kit that we spent $400 on didn't have a splint. You were actually supposed to take the boning out of it and use that as a splint. It didn't even have a tourniquet, I don't think.
But that
was not by today's standards. Yeah. So that was 35 years ago. So I'm going to go over this thing I like about these. I opened it up earlier. It's flat.
So it's easy to stick even in, you could probably zip that in when it's folded up.
It's flat. It weighs probably like an ounce. The reason I got this one. It came with vet wrap to secure the splint.
Self-adhesive bandages. We just call it vet wrap because that's usually what we have on hand.
And I don't know if that's latex free, and I don't know if these splints are latex free. I just figure they're gonna have something over their skin. And it came with 4 different sizes. A little finger splint. I don't even do that. I would just tape their fingers.
Buddy tape. But a lot of times, this plus the buddy taping would give you a better...
And if you just want to throw something like that in a tiny kit, it's better than nothing. I came with a small one. This one is a 9-inch splint, so it's for a wrist. That's what they show. And the cool thing is there's instructions on it. So, and then this is your medium splint. This is 18. And this will be your arm, elbow, ankle. You could do an ankle with this one too, but you wouldn't be able to do like tibia or something. And then this is your 36-inch. This is your monster. The cool thing is it's too long. You just shorten it, fold it over. It's surprisingly stiff for how bendy it is, but...
Well, and you can mold it too. So say you're using it for a ped.
Yeah.
You can fold it to make it smaller, but then you can also mold it around.
So it's very versatile. It's not like
you know.
The cool thing is it's not, you don't have your arm splint and your finger splint and your leg splint. You just need one. Even one this size or one this size is way better.
Like I said,
it's soft. It's not gonna, like, using a stick or something is an extreme emergency. Irritates the leg and can kind of poke things in.
Stick.
Yeah, or you could use tongue depressors. But see, that one's perfect for there. It just fits right in that kit.
Well, they all fold down to that same size. So.
Well, this one's a little thicker, but yeah.
But, you know, that fits right in there. You're good to go. This particular one has the ice pack and all of that in it. We have to go and review our own video on these kits to make sure we got the right one.
Why we went with these splits. This kit of 4 was like $30. It came with this. And it came in this nifty bag. So if you want to just throw this in your car or in your big kit, fine. That would be awesome. It's just easy to organize. I like the bright orange when it comes to or red. It's just easy to see what it is. So
but it's not easy if you've got
if you're looking for it. So that's the last thing you want to do is be tearing stuff apart looking for the splint or something when you need it. I mean, usually by the time you're looking for this stuff, your trip or your outing or whatever it's gone sideways pretty bad. So another thing that they don't have, most of them, is medications. And then I bought this. It was $10. It's not a lot of medication. 10 doses of 7 different kinds of medications that you would most likely need. It needs to be in every kit, in my opinion. You got your acetaminophen, Tylenol, ibuprofen. It's got your antacids, Benadryl, sinus relief. So you take that plus your antihistamine if you've got some severe allergy problems with your head. Diarrhea medicines. That's very important when you're camping, especially if you've had my chili. Just kidding.
But people don't realize, I mean, those of us that played the Oregon Trail, dysentery, it'll kill you.
So especially if one of the kids ends up drinking out of a stream without, improperly filtered or something. Yeah. That's what that's for. For $10, they're in individual dose packages. That's awesome. You just throw a few in each kit. You can have a refill, however you want to do it, or throw a little bit in the glove box, whatever, but diaper bag. They never have enough if they have any, and it's usually 1 or 2 doses, which if you're in any kind of situation longer than 4 hours, you're gonna need another dose. But this other item is super cool. I'm excited.
We've used it as tape, as first aid tape, but not as bandages. So we can attest to the stickiness, but not to how well the bandages themselves would work.
So I saw a video about someone, I think it was an ad, I don't remember, but I thought it was super cool, so I looked it up.
Sure, it was an ad.
Yeah, because that's a lot of
Facebook has your...
yeah.
Your algorithm's got you nailed.
So it is basically, if you're a dude, if you're a blue collar guy, if you are any kind of that kind of stuff, duct tape and super glue fixes everything. So you just glue yourself, tape it up with duct tape, and get back to work. Well,
not to be confused with electrical tape and...
Yeah, if you're a trades guy, you're a plumber, you got electrical tape it. This is actually medical grade duct tape, supposedly. It is pretty strong. The cool thing is you've got your patterns to cut out your own butterfly stitches, your own big and small, your fingertip band-aids, got the marks for, to do a medium, but it's also 10 feet long, so you can use it to
tape up as much as you want.
And the cool thing is you can tear it. There were some bad reviews saying it wasn't sticky enough. We didn't have that issue with what we've used it for so far. My son had some stitches because he ran into some rebar at work, and the bandage, it was on the tibia side, it was on his shin side, on his shin. And because of where it was, the skin stretches, so they had to stitch it. Him walking around on the job site all day, it just would go down like this. So we taped the bandage to him with this, and it worked pretty good. Work all day and didn't move. So the cool thing about this tape is you can just, if you can close up your wound and like it's a slit,
clean edge.
It's a incision, a type of wound where you can just push them together and you can just tape it. You don't need any gauze or anything, but you can make your own Band-Aid by just putting your gauze in the center and wrapping it around if you need to. So it's awesome. You don't have to have 6,000 freaking Band-Aids in your first aid kit.
You can just throw that in the glove box. I would keep it in the bag in your glove boxes like ours.
I was to design this product, this inside would be non-existent. The core would be non-existent.
Or at least
severely smaller.
Yeah.
Because it takes up a lot of space in a small kit. In this large kit, it's not a big deal. But one thing you can do is take like a lighter, or maybe if you wanted to do like packages, little salines that you clean stuff out, you wouldn't wrap it around a bunch around that.
Or maybe that's the good use for the popsicle sticks.
Yeah, or the yeah. But it is a heck of a lot. It's better than just regular tape. Even most of the tape you get in these kits are garbage, and they're made out of paper, and they don't stick. So
even to themselves.
Yeah. So this is pretty awesome for that. I think I bought 4 rolls for $20-something, or it's 1 roll for $10. So, but there's 10 feet, so it's more than most rolls that you can get. So it's awesome. I hope I never have to use it, but I'm kind of excited to use it at the same time. But I would just start out with a basic kit and then just add a few things to it until you get more medical knowledge. Don't just throw everything out and just start. If you don't know how to build your own kit, don't know what you need, just buy the basic kits. It's for what you get here. It's an awesome start, and it's not super huge.
But this would be great in the bag, in your glove box, or your console.
Just even in your car, your diaper bag or whatever, glove box, toolbox. It comes in these little boxes, but then they have a little bag with it, and it's called Duct Aid. So we didn't go over the tourniquets because we beat that horse to death. Usually it's from when you're hiking or something like that. That's where you need that splint, because you're gonna trip over a root, roll your ankle, step in hopefully not a live badger hole or something like that, but you're gonna step in holes from animal holes, and it happens all the time. Fall down a hill, whatever. So the splint is that, and this with the scraping or whatever if you fall. Those are the two bare minimums that I would add. If you're not doing super high-speed sports.
High risk,
yeah,
rock climbing or...
Well, there's just some cheap additions to it that keep you be more prepared today than you were yesterday. And remember, preparedness isn't just about a bunch of gear. It's about skills, so you learning something and then practice that skill. It's also not about panic. Being prepared is not panicking.
So let us know, what are the kinds of things that you would add to a first aid kit for your style of life?
Yeah.
These are the things that fit for ours, but it's not a one size fits all.
Let us know if we went wrong and where we went wrong, because I've been out of the game for 30 years. So
hope this helped, and
we'll catch you next time.